Hello and welcome to the Flipped Collaborate for EDU 10,004 Theories of Teaching and Learning. I'm just sharing my screen with you today so I can walk you through some of the elements, what's required of our assignment, and help you find some resources that'll get you going. So your dashboard might look a little bit like this. So I've gone into our unit, I've headed to assignments and clicked on that, and now I'm in assignment 2. Okay, so for our essay learning modes, our word limit is 2,000 words plus or minus 10%, and we have a weighting of 50%. Please don't be overwhelmed by this weighting. We have a really generous word count. We'll help you plan and structure your essay to fit lots of lovely detail in there. You're going to research on 2 theories and 2 learning modes, and you're going to share with us the key elements that you've identified, and you're going to be rewarded with 50% of your weighting for your unit grades. So it's really lovely towards the end of the teaching period when we go into the assignment 3 group task to know that you've got 70% of your assignment weightings already completed, so you can move with confidence. So please don't be overwhelmed by that. We're going to walk you through it, and we're going to start right now. So when is it due? It's due Monday of week 8. Okay, so here's our assignment overview. I'm not going to read this to you. You can go through that. This assignment does link to unit outcomes 3 and 6. We're going to head straight to our assignment details. So here we have our essay title. So describe 2 different modes of learning and how they align with contemporary education theories and inform the work of teachers. So our lovely learning designers have created this for you. So it tells us that the essay requires us to walk through a number of stages. These are outlined in our weekly learning materials and also our weekly group discussions that we've been completing together. And then they've walked you through how you could complete this. So I'm not going to read this to you. It's quite detailed. You can see, especially highlighted in bold here, the elements that come from our criteria. There's one that I'm going to highlight for you here. It just says, use clear headings or subheadings and paragraphs in this essay to add clarity to your writing. So that's not really very typical of an essay. However, knowing that we have a really generous word count and we're also a first year unit, it can be a little bit easy to accidentally head in the wrong direction, and we don't want that to happen. So consider following the advice of using headings and subheadings, so it really helps you keep on track, follow your plan for your essay to meet all of the assignment requirements. The other thing it does is it's really super helpful for your reader, who is also grading your essay, to understand where you're going and the next points coming. So consider using headings and subheadings. And down here it says we're going to use our weekly learning materials to start. Specifically chapter 3 is going to be helpful, and then you're going to head to the student hub. So we've got lots of different resources there on writing, on essay writing specifically, study resources, referencing. Again, I've got many of those in the Padlet, but those will be very, very helpful to you. And we're going to head over to our criteria. So this is what you'll be graded against. Our ELA team completes moderation for every assignment, every teaching period, and we work very closely to our assignment criteria. Up here we have 5 of them, and then our descriptors. So this is where the rubber meets the road. I really encourage you to print this out, and when you're working on your essay, just highlight, keep referencing this, double checking, am I including that? Is there something I've forgotten here? And if you do it as you're writing your essay, you find you don't get to the end and say, oh goodness me, I've only talked about theories and I haven't talked about our learning modes. So let's get into it. We've got our first criteria here. So researching 2 theories and describing how they align with learning and teaching, including the limitations and benefits of each. Description of learning modes, describing how they are connected with the 2 theories. description and practical examples of how the modes of learning and theories can be used in the learning environment. Number 4 is referring to the structure of your essay. So we would like an introduction, a conclusion, and you're going to present discussion using paragraphs. And number 5 refers to the logical coherence of your essay, so your language skills, your use of academic literature. Remember that this essay will be based on research, so you're presenting the findings of others, and therefore you will be citing and referencing. So we do know that we're a first year unit and that referencing and citation can be a little bit tricky. Please use all of the links in the Student Hub. I've also popped some extra additional resources in our A2 Padlet that I'm about to share with you, and give it a red hot go. It's most important that we do acknowledge the work of others and we paraphrase it into our own words. So basically you're going to do some really awesome research, you're going to understand it, and then you're going to write it and present it to us in your own words, and that's how you demonstrate that you've understood it. So you might use quotes sparingly, but really how we can see that you have understood the content is when you take someone's research, understand it, and present it back to us in your own words, and then you'll cite and reference those. Okay, so let's look at the past descriptor here. We're going to ask you to use APA referencing. We would like an introduction. So please introduce the topic and the content of the essay. So you're going to give us a little roadmap of where you're going. You're going to use paragraphs to explore one key idea each. You're going to include descriptions of the learning modes and the theories align with the types of learning in the descriptions. An attempt has been made to draw connections between the theoretical, broader societal and educational context. Don't worry too much about that. I've got a little tip sheet that will help you with that. You've used literature, you've cited others' work, and then your English language skills. Okay, so that's looking at what it takes to get a pass for this essay. Then you can move down the descriptors, moving all the way down to HD if you're interested. I'll leave you to do that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to work out what will your topic be for your essay. So we're going to head to page 4.5 in our modules. So we have a task here that asks us to select a pair of learning modes from the following options here. So we're encouraged to use the pairs that are presented here and to look into these and discuss them. So we're going to read, think, and create a Venn diagram. So this is an activity that we really encourage you to complete. It's not one that is linked to a discussion that you complete with your ELA and your learning group. However, I really do highly recommend that you complete this yourself, and you'll find that it helps you greatly right at the very beginning to understand the assignment itself. So there's no specific requirement that we use these learning modes and theories. However, we do highly recommend that you consider it. Going through this unit a number of times and seeing students trying to understand and how they approach this assignment, you'll find that once you start looking into these, you'll find that the learning designers have paired these very carefully. So you'll find that problem solving, so that's the learning mode, and the theory that accompanies it, humanism, compares and contrasts quite nicely to motivation, so that's the learning mode, and the theory that goes with that, behaviorism. So you can see we've got these 3 different options here. Again, it's not a requirement. However, I highly recommend that you do choose one of those 3. So that's page 4.5 and the activity for you to complete. I really do recommend that you do that. So we're going to head over here to some more things to help you out. So we have another Padlet just like we did for A1, and I've structured it very similarly. So you're going to start here and let's have a little look what we've got. So you're listening to the Flipped Collaborate now. Well done everyone, you've made a start. Over here I've linked in the assignment details. That's the link to the recording you're watching now. And how are we going to support you for this assignment? So we've listened to the Flipped Collaborate and we're going to have some live brainstorming sessions. So we're going to have 2 of them. They're going to be identical sessions covering the same content. However, we know that you're super duper busy and we're giving you 2 different opportunities to attend live sessions. Of course, there will always be recordings provided, and we do take snips of any of the brainstorming slides, and I do share these, so I'll do that shortly after the session is complete. So you're going to have Flipped Collaborate live brainstorming sessions, so there'll be 2 opportunities that they will actually be identical in their content, and then a last minute check-in opportunity. So this really is right at the very, very end of your assignment. You've completed it, you've formatted it, you've done your referencing in your citation, but you just have one tiny little niggling question. Turn up, our ELAs are there for half an hour, take the microphone and ask your question. However, if you're at the stage where you're still writing, planning and creating your essay, the live brainstorm sessions are going to be more useful to you. So there we go. That's how we're going to help you. This is where I'll pop our details and links to our live sessions. I've also popped here our live brainstorm collaborate session slides. So it might be that you're going to jump straight into this assignment. Thank you very much. Well done. Your future self will thank you for that. And one of the things that might come up is, oh, I'm a bit stuck on this, I'm not really sure. And so I pop these slides in here because you might jump in here and say, oh, I don't know really what that means, but I can see that we're going to brainstorm that together. So I don't have to worry about that. I can work on something else. So you can print them off, write all over them, do as you please. Now, I've tried to help you with some frequently asked questions, trying not to overwhelm you, but trying to give you some of the most common ones that come up. So when you do sit down, you can use your precious time on your assignment instead of going around in circles and wondering what comes next. So what's included in the word count? Which learning modes and theories can I choose? So remember, we're highly encouraged to use the ones in activity 4.5, and I've popped them there and those will link straight back to that page. So we've got problem solving is the learning mode with humanism, the theory, motivation, the learning mode, and behaviorism, the theory. So we've got those 3 pairings there, and there we go. We highly recommend that you follow those. First or third person, so it's an essay, so we're going to use third person writing. Do I explore a theory or a theorist? So you might touch on an actual theorist, however, you're going to spend more of your time discussing the theories themselves and the learning mode. So this is not an essay for you to identify a theorist and run with it. You might mention a name or 2, but the theory is really where the bulk of your discussion will be, along with learning modes. How many references? Our word count, formatting, if you want to use some of the weekly readings, should we use subheadings? So we do recommend you use subheadings, and this is one that comes up quite often. How many limitations and benefits should I cover? So we really recommend that you just get into 2 there. So I'm going to head over here super quickly. I've got some tip sheets for you. So these are our pairings that we're encouraged to use, and I've just made this document and an example of how you might create your headings. So if you do the first option, if you do the second option, and if you do the third option there. And finally, I'm just going to head over here and help you out with another tip sheet. So sometimes you can have all these wonderful ideas and it's a bit hard to get started. So I've tried to give you some language that might be helpful for you. So give it a go, everyone. Contact your ELA if you have any questions, and all the best for A2.